Hey, welcome back to the Nansera Wellness YouTube channel. Today we are going to be doing yoga for tight hips and flexibility, or yoga for hip mobility. This is very good for anyone who has tight hips, who feels hip pain, and you just feel like your mobility is limited. This flow is very good for you and it's beginner level. If you want, you can get 2 props. These are going to be like extension for our arms in some poses and also good for balancing. But before we get started, if you're new here, kindly subscribe to the channel, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know how is it in the comment section. Do you like it? What was too complicated for you? Otherwise, let's get started. We're going to start in a lying position on your mat. Lengthen your legs. I'm gonna just have these ones out of the way. Onto the mat. Tailbone is tucked in, your lower back is grounded into the mat. Let's take 3 breaths here to center and arrive for the practice. Deep inhale and exhale. Use this moment to set an intention for your practice. Breathing in. Exhale, flutter your eyes open. And we're going to start with the right knee, bending it to a 90-degree angle. And now from here, I just want you to draw a circle, maybe big or small, depending on where you are. If it's your first movement for the day like me, be gentle with yourself, okay? And then to the opposite direction. This is called Pada Chakrasana. Pada, the leg, and Chakrasana is the circle or the wheel. Very nice. And we do the second side. You can try to synchronize it with your breath. That brings a really relaxing effect. And in yoga, we believe our hips are our emotional storage. So maybe you find yourself crying a bit in this practice or releasing emotions. That's okay, it's expected. Just be mindful of them as they arise, and like passing clouds, let them go. I mean, today is cloudy. The clouds don't seem to be moving, but you know what I mean. All right, now let's come into Setu Bandhasana, and then we are gently going to flap our knees up and down in our reclined butterfly. Easily my favorite hip opener. It's just so, everything is working with you. It's aligned. The gravity is on your side. It's just perfect. All right, bringing your knees together, hug the back of your thighs, and rock and roll up all the way into a Malasana. Separate your heels, maybe wider than your hips, toes facing out. And now from here, going to bring your hands to a prayer and move from side to side. If this is a bit too much for you, you don't have to go this deep. You can stay lifted and place your palms on your blocks or books, whatever prop you're using. Yeah? Just listen to your body and honor its progress. And breathe. Now coming to a static hold, I want you to open your arms out wide and push the knees out. Engage the glutes, squeeze. And slowly release. Plant your palms, heel to your feet together, and rise all the way up with your hands. Tadasana. And bring them to a prayer in front of your chest. Now grounding your right foot into the mat. Bring the left foot to the right ankle and open the left knee out to the left. Tailbone is tucked in. You should feel a bit of movement in your left hip here. Breathing in. Breathe out. Inhale. Stay for the exhale. If you're struggling with your balance, intensely stare at a gaze point, your drishti, and deepen your breath. This kind of focus should help you find stability in the pose. And now from here, we're going to bend into the right knee, step the left foot back, and open into Virabhadrasana 2. Make sure your back heel is in the same line with the front foot. Open your arms out wide into a T shape And look over your right fingertips. From here, I want you to keep opening that right knee out to the right. They tend to cave in, but keep it active. Open it out and breathe. 2 breaths. Arms are shoulder level. And then bring your palms to a prayer in front of your chest with a beautiful smile. Bring the left heel in, left toes out. Adjust your feet and find yourself into a goddess. And I just want you to bob here. Use your breath, getting into those hips. Mindful of what emotions arise. Acknowledging them. And then let them go. Try not to attach, yeah? All right, and now from here, we're going to turn the back toes forward, peel the back heel off the mat, lean forward, and see if we can lift that foot off the mat for Virabhadrasana 3. Maybe the toes stay onto the mat, or slightly lifted, or all the way up. And again, option to keep the knee micro bent. Reach for your props or your blocks. Place the fingers on them if you need support, and hold it here. Keep the hips square. We tend to open out to the side. I would rather you stay supported than balanced, but with the hips square. So you should feel something on the outside of your right hip. And then bend into that knee. Step all the way back. Maybe move the right foot out to the right and come into a lizard. You can keep the palms placed onto the blocks. I just want you to lower the hips as much as you can. And again, let's bob here. Using your breath. And now from here, I want you to turn out, bend into that. I'm going to move the block so you can see. I want you to send the right heel back while you lengthen into the left leg for your Skandasana, Surfer's Lunge, and then return back to a lizard. And again, out into Skandasana, back into a lizard. Opening up, Skandasana, and back to a lizard. From here, you're going to drop the back knee into the mat. Heel to the right foot to center. Rise your arms up and back into a moon salutation. Relax into those hips. Adjust your front leg if need be, because I don't want you to bring that knee over the ankle. It should always be in line with the ankle or behind it. Plant the palms. And now from here, we're going to bring our hands all the way to the front. Release the right knee into the mat. Lengthen the left leg out and come into a half frog pose. Maybe release your elbows onto the mat and just move back and forth, getting into those hips. Beautiful. And now we're going to plant the palms, slowly adjust back into a lizard, and then step the back foot to the front, return into our Malasana, and again, use your props if you want to, or lift a bit so it's not so deep. Plant your palms, heel to your feet together. Inhale, rise up, arms overhead. Tailbone is tucked in. Exhale, prayer to the chest. Left foot grounds into the mat. Bring the right foot to the left ankle and keep opening that right knee out to the right. Feel the opening in the outside of the right hip bone. Breathe. Engage your glutes. Your gaze point is your point of stability. Deepening the breath to relax the muscles into the pose. And now from here, we're going to step all the way back. And once again, we're going to open into Warrior 2. Arms in a T-shape, shoulder level. Look at your feet for alignment. I do like using my mat for alignment. When I was designing it, I made it a point to have alignment lines for this exact reason. Breathe here. And now bring your hands to a prayer, something like we did before. Left heel in. And we come into a into goddess pose. This time we're going to release the hands onto the knees and then drop the right shoulder, drop the left shoulder, yes, the right shoulder. Look over the left shoulder, return to center. You know what? It doesn't matter. Whichever side you started with, just keep moving back and forth. Tailbone is tucked in. Squeeze the glutes. And back to center. Peel the back heel of the mat and the back toes to face forward. Lean forward, and again, warrior 3. Maybe toes stay on the mat, whatever variation. And you have the option to use your blocks for support. Breathe. Also, don't forget, if especially you're hyperextended, micro bend into the knee to avoid hyperextending it even more. And then step the foot all the way back. Come into a lizard. Heel to the left foot to the outer edge of the mat. And bob here in your lizard. From here, we're going to turn into surfer's lunge and back to lizard. Open out to surfer. Return to lizard. Surfer. And lizard. Heel to the front foot to center. Drop the back knee. Arms overhead. Arch back for your moon salutation. Mini back bend here. And slowly coming all the way back. Drop the left knee into the mat. And again, open out into a half frog. Maybe rest on the elbows. Maybe rest your arms on the blocks. Whatever feels good. And move back and forth. Back and forth. Getting into the hip flexor. Beautiful. And we're going to return slowly back to the top. And step forward into Amalasana. Amazing job, yogi. And now we're going to sit all the way into the mat. I'm going to turn and face you so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to sit into the mat and open the feet wide. Knees are bent. We're going to go for 90-90. Drop the knees. Turn to the right. Push your hips forward. Back to center. And then to the left. Bust the hips forward. Right. To the right. Center. To the left. In this pose, there is a tendency of moving back and forth. That's okay. Just be mindful and keep adjusting back. Center. Right. Center. And left. Very nice. Returning back to center. And now we're going to open the legs out wide into our pancake wherever you are. It's okay. Some of us might never be able to do a full pancake because of the way our bones are built, and that's fine. And now we're going to go forward, bobbing. And again, if you need your block, go for it. You can rest your arms on your block and just keep going forward like that. You should feel it in your hip flexors. Very nice. Maybe point the toes and flex. Point, flex, point. I've found this pointing and flexing movement helps open my hip flexors even more. And breathe. Be mindful of what emotions arise, whether positive or negative. Imagine yourself as a detached witness. You are not your emotions. You are the person who experiences them. I want you to separate yourself from these emotions. Let them rise and let them go. All you have to do is stay present, release them, let them go, yeah? Breathe, use your breath. If you find yourself crying, that's okay. They're hip openers. And slowly coming all the way back up, bringing your feet back together. We're going to return to lying down on our mats. Bring the right knee to your chest. Give it a hug. Squeeze it to your chest for Pawan Muktasana, Supta Pawan Muktasana. And then from here, you're going to send it all the way to the left. And look over your right shoulder. Breathe. You know, you can choose whatever option you want. If you want to drop the knee into the mat, that's okay. If you want to drop the shoulder and keep the knee lifted, that's okay too. Whatever works best for you here. But for purposes of hips, I would recommend dropping the shoulder. And bringing that knee back to center. Now you're going to bend the left knee and cross the right leg on top of the left. Flex into your feet to protect your ankle and knee joints. And see if you can reach for your feet and pull them towards you while you try to bring them to a straight line for Gomukhasana, Supta Gomukhasana. And breathe. You should feel the stretch, especially in your right glute, neutralizing the hips. You know, there are not so many poses for hip closing. This is one of the very few. So every time you do hip openers, try to get into it. And slowly release. Right leg lengthens. Bend the left knee, return to Supta Pawanamuktasana. And then send it all the way to the right, looking over your left shoulder. Ooh, had a crack in my spine. So good. Breathe. Coming back to center. And again, Supta Gomukhasana, second side. Flex into the feet. Try to lengthen the legs to come into one straight line while you draw them towards you. Feel the stretch in the left glute, neutralizing. Beautiful. And slowly release. Release your legs into the mat. Straighten them out wide. Maybe close your eyes, getting in touch with your emotions, watching them as they come and go. A hip opening practice is usually a very emotional one. So if you're feeling emotional, if you feel overwhelmed and are confused, you have no idea what's going on, that's okay. There's a lot of emotional release happening. On a physical level, we release tension from the hips. And on an emotional level, we let go of all our emotions. They arise. Everything you've been putting off and suppressing is coming out. Feel free to stay here for as long as you want, breathing. Otherwise, thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. I wish for you good health and happiness. Namaste.